Okay, a little different set here today. Thought I'd stop, make this quick video on my way to the office because it's time sensitive, because I've got to send something back today. Long story short, for a long time, my go-to hiking, adventure, travel, family, vlogging camera has been the Canon G7X Mark II. It has been an absolute workhorse. Build quality has been great. It's just been a performer. I love the way it looks. A lot of people will ask me, hey, is it better than your iPhone? I think in some cases on the photos, for sure. Maybe some of the more modern phones, maybe not. However, I like the look better than the iPhone look. The iPhone, don't get me wrong, iPhone takes some great photos. However, I just personally like the look a little bit better. I like the look of the video for storytelling a little bit better. Don't get me wrong, iPhones takes excellent video. So it's more of a personal preference in most cases. Plus when I'm hiking or I'm out traveling, and sometimes when I'm with my family, I don't want my phone. I want to be unplugged. I don't want to know anything about the outside world. I don't want to be scrolling. I just want to be away. And that a camera like this allows me to do that. Well, when I was kayaking on one of our weekend scouting adventures, I took my G7X Mark II with me because I was able to keep it alive during a canoe trip. And I didn't realize in choppy water, there was no way that was going to happen with a kayak. And my G7X Mark II died. So I thought, I'll get the G7X Mark III. That seems like a logical step up. It's got the microphone jack. Not that in my situations that I really think I need an external microphone for something like this. I thought it might be handy. So I ended up ordering. I have this maybe less than a week now. It's going back. And I'm going to tell you why. When I first got it, the build quality on it, it's like plastic. It feels cheap. I couldn't believe it because the G7X Mark II is like some form of metal. This does have like the rubber on the front here where it's metal on the G7X Mark II. I do like that because I did drop it, and when you hit that metal on the ground, I mean, it just dents, right? But I did like the metal. The bezel on this is plastic. The bezel on the G7X Mark II was really beautiful metal. I mean, it's really nice. And then also there was a switch here for this bezel to de-click it. Now, if this camera can be used manually, which is one of the other reasons that I love the G7X cameras and the G7X Mark II. And you could set this for ISO, and it was de-click, so you could change the ISO depending on your environment, and it would be very smooth, right? And that was a nice advantage if you like that type of thing, and I do. So I was a little disappointed by that, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna live with it. They've gone cheaper. Maybe they needed to, by adding some of the other features that they have here, they needed to save some money, so they went plastic instead of metal. And then, one other thing one positive thing about this is that when this is focusing, the noise from the motors is a lot less than the G7X Mark II. So if that was an issue for you, you might like this. I took this with me to do to film some dog training. My daughter's involved with dog agility and dog training and dog obedience. It's kind of her jam, and you pay a lot for some of those classes. So I wanted to make sure that I could take some videos so that she could review the footage, review the lesson, and it's just super helpful for when she's learning and training. So I thought I'd take this. I wanted to get some footage out of it. It was also more practical. It's easy, just pull out and shoot. Well, when I was reviewing the footage last night, man, the autofocus was just horrible. I mean, it was jumping all over the place. It was focus breathing. I mean, it was really bad. I mean, enough to where I was really annoyed. And I don't think I can deal with that in my footage in the future. I'd rather use my iPhone. Honestly, iPhone would be way better. But as I mentioned, for the purposes that I mentioned, I wanted something that I could take portable. So I went online. It looks like in the original firmware, autofocus was an issue. Supposedly they fixed it. I've got the latest firmware. I watched that footage. It's trash. So for that reason, this is trash. I'm gonna tell you right now, the G7X Mark III's autofocus, even with the updated firmware, if you've ever used the G7X Mark II, in comparison, it is trash. I went back and looked at my old footage from my G7X Mark II. Nowhere near that kind of focus breathing. I mean, that was a beautiful camera. So here's the rub. Here's the crazy part. So I go back to B&H and I'm like, hey, I'll just go take this one back and I'll get the G7X Mark II. It's on back order. Okay, so then I go to George's camera on back order. I go to Sammy's camera on back order. I go to Adorama on back order. I go to Best Buy on back order. You can't get the G7X Mark II. I mean, I was staying up late losing sleep because then I started watching reviews. I'm like, you know what? Let me go check out the Sonys. Maybe I'll do Sony. I've really grown to love the look of the Canon, just the way the Canon looks, right? And I have 2 other Canon cameras. They match up really nice. It works for me for my little ecosystem. So I go, you know what? Maybe I'll try Sony. So I'm up till like 1 in the morning last night watching reviews on the Sony EV1, the Sony EV1 II, and the Sony, what is it, the X100, the $1,200 one. And I didn't like the lens on the EV1, the Sony EV1. It's a 24-70. It wasn't so much the wide angle that all the bloggers or vloggers were complaining about. I like that extra 25 millimeters of reach that you get with the G7X. So I wanted that little more reach. And then if you look at the Sony EV1 Mark II, that one's only up to 50 millimeters. So that one's really made, because it's wider, to just be like shooting yourself. The truth is, the way I shoot, I'm usually shooting other people. I mean, occasionally with my family, I'll turn this thing around, you know, but that's not my main impetus for using this camera. So I didn't like the lenses. I saw a lot of gripes about stabilization. Look, there's no wizardry in the G7X Mark II stabilization, but it worked for me. And I knew that camera and I knew what it was capable of, and I was happy with the results. And I was really worried that I was gonna spend $629 for a Sony EV1 that had a shorter focal length than I wanted, with stabilization that people were complaining about, when all I really wanted was a replacement for my G7X Mark II. So then I thought about buying a used one, right, on eBay. Well, that makes me nervous just because even with my own, you know, dust got in there, and with sun flares, I mean, that camera I beat the hell out of. It was pretty much ready to get replaced. And I really didn't want to buy one where I might end up with somebody else's banged up camera. So I ended up on eBay finding a new one in Japan. I paid $100 extra plus shipping, because ultimately, until Canon or Sony puts out a better point and shoot, and I think that the iPhones are really making that tough for them. For my personal taste, I think the G7X Mark II is the best camera for the type of stuff that I'm shooting. Now, I always will use my iPhone a little bit, you know, if necessary, and I do this for like everyday carry. It works great, but for the look I want, for my personal travel vlog and family and scouting and that sort of thing, I really like that G7X Mark II. So for the review on the G7X Mark III, if you ever had a G7X Mark II, you're gonna hate this thing. If you've never had a G7X Mark II and you haven't done a lot of video and your eye's not sensitive to that type of thing, it might be okay. But I give it a big thumbs down. I would not buy this camera. I'd go find yourself a G7X Mark II. And I think that's why the G7X Mark II is on back order, because a lot of people have figured that out. So anyways, hope that helps. Got a little change of environment here. I hope that was fun, and we'll catch you next time.